Dr. Gibbs is a professor at Baylor College School of Medicine. He's the director of the Human Genome Sequencing Center. Dr. Gibbs was actually quite involved with some of the stuff we saw on the video with the Human Genome Project, and is now using the human genome for clinical testing. And so I'm sort of curious for you, like, you know, it's about 20 years since you were working on the project, and now you're using it to help patients. Was that faster than you thought? Was it slower? I mean, when you look back at the history, what's it like for you now?
Well, of course, some parts faster and some parts slower. And you heard Francis's great quote about technology's been, you know, overhyped, underperforming the short term, overperforming the long term. I think we're seeing that happening. The areas that have gone spectacularly are mainly in pediatrics and with relatively simple genetic problems. The areas we're still struggling with are with cancer and with adult disease like heart disease and lung disease. So in one area we're doing extremely well, in the other area we're catching up. Well, I do want to say, I think we've got to step back. I see these films and I get a bit depressed because I hear people say, you know, we're not making progress or it's not really genetic. I think we shouldn't lose track of the fact, the overarching fact that, you know, we are genetic creatures. You know, we are programmed by our DNA. DNA will help us to understand and fix these disease problems. It's a hard thing to do, to understand all the nuts and bolts, but we will get there. So in pediatrics, I think if we look at that, we really have got there. You know, a decade or so ago, if you had a child, 1% of children have some sort of genetic problem. Maybe 10% of those, or 5% perhaps, had an avenue that could bring them to resolution of what their problem was and bring them on a journey to intervention of some kind. We're up to 25 to 50% now. We've revolutionised the methods, we've trebled the catalogue of genetic diseases, and we're using that information in a compound way to understand adult biology.